Welcome back to another Movies with Andy. Today's movie is 28 Years Later, Bone Temple.
When that time comes, men will no longer communicate.
So this movie actually takes place right after the last 28 Years Later movie. But before we get into the movie review, this review is sponsored by Te Salud. I finally got some new flavors and I'm so excited to try them out. I got the mango one and the limonada de durazno. And you know the energy and focus ones are always my favorite. So you know this one's gonna be gone before these two. And if you wanna save 10% off your very first order, make sure you use Andy10 at checkout. The code will be right here on the screen. Or you can click the link in the description below. So don't forget to get hydrated and have some energy with some super greens in there. So thank you, Te Salud, and don't forget to put in your order right now. And now back to the review. So 28 years later, Bone Temple brings back Alfie Williams and Ray Fiennes. So like I said in the beginning, this one takes place right after 28 years later. And this movie was not all what I was expecting from a zombie movie. But first, let me start off with things that I liked from this film. Ray Fiennes does an amazing job in this movie. He has a way bigger character in this movie than in the first 28 Years Later. And he just does such an amazing job, and he carries this movie throughout the whole way. But also, Jack O'Connell, who plays Sir Jimmy Crystal, does an amazing job in this movie. I don't know, he just plays the character where you don't know if he can actually kill you or if he's BSing it the whole time. Because he does a good job of like playing the tough guy when he needs to be, but then he kind of starts like crying and like whimpering at other times. So I just feel like he did an amazing job with that. Also, Alfie Williams, which he plays Spike in this movie, he does a really good job too, but I feel like his character wasn't seen as much as in the first one. But that kid is an amazing actor. Good job, Alfie. Okay, I'm having a really hard time really reviewing this movie because this is a positive and a negative. So this is the most zombie movie I've ever seen. And what I mean by that is there is not a lot of zombie attack scenes or zombie scenes for that matter. Because this time we do see a lot more of Samson. And yes, we still see a lot more of Samson. But for the zombie aspect of the movie, it really focuses in on Samson and his relationship with the doctor, which I really did like their relationship and what was going on throughout the movie. But I really do wish there was more zombies in this movie. This movie was actually focusing in more on the human aspect of this and what was happening with the humans while this whole zombie pandemic happened. Yeah, I hope I didn't confuse you too much. I just can't say too much without spoiling this movie for you. But going off of that, I really do like how the doctor took more of a medical aspect and he's trying to figure out how he can actually cure these zombies. Also, because there is a bigger human aspect in this movie, there is a lot of gore in this one. And a lot of gore between humans, which is really cool because not only do they have to face monsters as in the zombies, but they also have to face some real monsters with the humans that have survived all of this. So it gives a really cool aspect of having to survive that and now this as well. And I also did like that this movie really did make me care about the Samson zombie in this movie. They just did a good job of humanizing him and making us like him a lot more. Which he is an alpha zombie. We're not supposed to like an alpha zombie in a zombie movie. So I feel like they just did a really good job with that. And it's pretty crazy. I forget that this movie was actually pretty funny in some scenes. Like in the ending, which I told you that I really enjoyed. So I'm glad that they were able to throw in a little bit of comedy here and there in a scary zombie movie. And that was some things that I didn't really like in this movie. I do feel like closer to the end of this movie or like more middle, it really slowed down and it was kind of losing me there a little bit. But the last like 30 to 40, probably the last 30 minutes really brought me back into it. It made me really excited to see what was happening next and what was going to happen. So yeah, somewhere in the middle, I was like, okay, come on, let's speed it up. But and then when it got closer to the end, I was like, yes, this is what I want. And like I said, I wish it did have more zombie action scenes in this movie. Which I get that they're trying to give us more human stories during this horrible situation. But it is a 28 years later / Alex Garland zombie movie. So we do expect zombie attacks and zombie killings, a horde of zombies, you know, a lot more zombies in there. And I did like that this movie was following two different characters or two different storylines. but I just feel like one of those was the one that was kind of slowing down the movie, and I was way more interested in what was happening on the other side of the story. I'm not saying that the other side of the story was bad at all. I was just way more interested in what was happening over here. And I just don't want to tell you which one I liked more. So now, would I watch 28 years later Bone Temple in the theaters again? Yeah, I think I would, just because of the performances from all the actors. They just did a really good job, and of course the storyline and where the story is going is making me very interested. Or it's keeping me very interested to see what's going to happen next. And kind of going off of that, it's not a plus or negative, that's why it's at the end. Stay for the end. I think that ending is what really surprised me, and I feel like it's going to surprise a lot of people. And I just don't know where the third one is going, which is good because the third one's going to be very interesting. I'm just going to say that. So let me know. Are you watching 28 Years Later Bone Temple in the theaters this weekend? Also, I would love to hear where this movie ranks for you in this franchise. And if you are, I would love to hear what you have to say about this movie in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more movie reviews every week.